The 76ers of the 80s were a traveling roadshow with flamboyant players and personalities. The cast included a doctor, a world, someone from another world, and Charles. Andrew Toney had a much lower profile, but despite his quiet demeanor, he was just as devastating as any of his teammates. Toney was one of the most dangerous shooting guards of his era, and he's the subject of this week's Vintage NBA.
One of the keys to stopping the Sixers is stopping Andrew Toney.
Andrew Toney, and Toney now has a hot hand.
Andrew Toney from his repertoire.
Andrew Toney, who developed into a bona fide star. He can beat you so many ways.
Beautiful move on the baseline.
In June of 1980, the Sixers were coming off a trip to the NBA Finals, but they still needed one more piece to the puzzle, some help in the backcourt. So with the 8th pick in the draft, they chose a guard from Southwest Louisiana named Andrew Toney, not exactly one of the headline names of that year's class. But once he was unleashed upon the NBA, Toney proved to be one of the game's most lethal weapons. He arrived like some Wild West drifter from a bygone era. Andrew Toney had a stoic demeanor, but underneath, a ruthless competitor.
While he was around, one of the all-time threats.
Here's Toney out in three-point territory, lets it fly, good!
When he had the ball and went up for a shot, you just assumed it was going to go in.
How do you stop that?
In his mind, he was the best offensive player on the planet.
In the early 80s, the Sixers were one of the league's best teams, led by the incomparable Julius Erving, the heady playmaking of Mo Cheeks, and the defensive brilliance of Bobby Jones. But whenever they needed 2 points, they turned to one man.
As far as just going out there and saying, hey, buddy, I'm going to score, nobody could touch Andrew Toney.
I remember before his rookie season, I was at camp watching him play. This guy would not back off. That by maybe the second or third day of practice, Julius had adopted him. Andrew was his man already. He could see the guy was fierce.
Coming off the bench at first, Toney showed he had all the attributes of scorer.
He just had an assassin's mentality.
They used to call him the silent assassin.
Silent assassin? I don't remember that name being silent because there wasn't much silent about his game.
Toney gets the baseline on him. He just burned him to the baseline.
He had a very, very funny jump shot in terms of the way he held the ball and the way he shot it.
He put it so far out in front of him, and it was not above head level on his jump shot. It was peculiar.
He had such a toughness about him. You could hit him, you could double team him. Nothing would distract him.
It'd be a little contact out there involved, but I'm sure I'm not the only one doing all the bumping.
Toney is just really going to work now.
He scored 46 points in 31 minutes against the Lakers on a nationally televised game.
And that is a career high for Andrew Toney.
46 points in 31 minutes, and that's pretty special.
But it was against Boston that he forged his reputation as a clutch performer. Defying the mystique of the parquet floor, Toney constantly burned the Celtics in the playoffs.
Anytime we went into the Boston Garden, we knew he was going to have a big night.
For some reason, and I don't know if it was the floor in Boston and the legacy, he would always get up for those games.
Here they come. 3-on-2. Toney against Bird. What a move. What a move. And that basket will count and he's fouled.
You knew that Andrew was going to get 30. They had nobody to stop him.
Toney taking his time, guarded by M.L. Carr. Starts to go to work.
He was not just a great scorer, a guy that wanted to beat you up and score.
He is a machine today.
I feared Andrew Toney even more than Michael Jordan.
Do you feel anybody can stop you? You're one of the few guards in the league who seems totally unafraid of taking it not only at forward,